Well, howdy everyone. I'm here in my closet and I want to talk a little bit about selecting plants. You know, what plants do you select for closet growing? Now in here, I've chosen a tomato plant and I have 3 pepper plants in here. Although this one is kind of getting hidden. One of the things that I like to do is choose plants that have a continuous harvest. I mean, you can grow greens and lettuce in here, and that's fine, but those are basically seasonal crops. Tomatoes and peppers are actually perennials. I mean, outdoors in North America, we grow them as annuals because the frost kills them. But indoors, they will last a long time. One of the things that you have to consider when you're indoors is that there are no bees, so you have to pollinate. Now, it's as simple as just touching the flowers and then maybe say touching another one. You can do it with a small brush, or you can shake the plant. These plants generally will set some fruit even without being hand pollinated, but they'll do much better. They'll do much better if you pollinate them. You can see we've got some little tomatoes here, and I know there's some peppers in here. There's a pepper right there starting out, and I know there's some on some of the other plants. There's a flower right there, and you touch it and that pollinates it. I have a lot of flowers in here, but these plants are so dense right now. There's a pepper, and I think there's another one right here. Another one right there, and more flowers. These plants have actually been pruned back. They've got really big leaves. They're really happy in here. So I like tomatoes and I like peppers because they yield continuously. Now this is a determinate tomato plant. It's an early girl, which is normally indeterminate, but this one is determinate, so it's bush-like. It's a pretty big bush actually. Takes up a lot of space, and probably it got bigger than I thought, and I should have probably only had 2 pepper plants in here because this one is kind of getting overgrown a bit, but it'll be okay. The pepper plants will get taller. The tomato plant is as tall as it's going to get. Now, indeterminate tomato plants are vines, and you probably don't want to use those in a closet, and because they'll get too tall. You can if you have a trellis, but I think, you know, the determinate ones are fine. They're a better choice for a closet because your space is limited. And the peppers, I have not noticed a whole lot of difference in size between pepper plants, although I think hot peppers might be a bit smaller of a plant. And so you need pots, and I use 5-gallon buckets, and they're filled with coco coir, and I think that's a good size for in a closet. This also works if you have a grow tent. Same principle. You need to have a light, and you need ventilation. You know, I have a fan over here that's blowing air, and I have a fan over here that's blowing air, and I'm trying to keep it so that there's airflow, but the plants are not getting beat up by the fan because they don't like that. And then you're going to need an exhaust fan, and if you look, you can see this is moving, because this fan here is pulling air out of the closet, and you need to have air exchange. Your plants, if you grew them in an airtight closet, they would use up all the CO2 in the air, and they would stop growing until they got more CO2. So you need to keep airflow going. You need air in and air out, and that keeps the supply of air in here pretty good. If you look right now at this, I am not using CO2, but I have a CO2 meter, and you can see that the parts per million in here are 677, and 400 is about normal. So you know, I am in here breathing, and that raises it a bit. But I just wanted to show you these plants so you know what's possible. And you know, I mean, you can grow these close indoors, but honestly, I think I would have had one less pepper in here if I'd have known how large my early girl tomato was going to get. So anyway, these are about 6 weeks old right now. They were started from transplants. You could grow them from seed, but it's not a good idea to grow seeds in a large pot because it just gets overwatered every time you have to water it, and the plants don't have full root systems. Plus you're using a light, which is, you know, I mean, it costs money. So I like to start transplants and then set them in. So these were set in as transplants that were probably, I don't know, a few weeks old and set in, and they've grown just fine. I do use drip irrigation. You can see my manifold here and my drip lines. I don't use drippers though. I use open drip lines because they don't clog as much. You know, with cocoa it's fine. If it gets into your reservoir, it can sometimes plug up the lines. Now, you don't have to do it this way. You can hand water, but I like an automated system. The pump is on a timer, and it runs 3 minutes on, and then it runs again every 3 hours while the lights are on. But you can water by hand if you don't want to set that up. And Coco Coir is a great medium for growing. For one thing, it's environmentally sustainable and it's renewable, unlike potting mixes, and I think it's a superior grow medium. But you could use potting soil. Don't ever use garden soil, because that will compact and it might have bugs and diseases. So when you're growing in a closet or a grow tent, don't ever use garden soil. Basically, it's up to you to decide what you want to grow. You can grow peppers, you can grow tomatoes, or you can grow other plants. There's really not much you can't grow in here. Potatoes would do well if you had a deep enough bucket. Carrots would do really well in these 5-gallon buckets. They'd have plenty of room for root growth. Same thing for beets. You know, you can grow lettuce in much smaller containers. Most greens you don't need a 5-gallon container for. So it's really up to you how you set it up. The kinds of plants that you can grow in here are pretty much limited by your imagination. I've grown sweet potatoes, I've grown peppers, I've even grown cannabis, and I used to be a cannabis grower, but I gave it up, changed my ways. And now I grow indoor vegetables instead, and I just use the equipment that I had for my cannabis, and it works fantastic for vegetables. Grow your plants close together, and you can do it either without irrigation, automated irrigation and water by hand, or use top feed drip like I'm using. It is important that you have a light, and you need a good LED light, and you need to have some fans for cross ventilation in the room, and you need to have an exhaust fan to pull out the stale air and the extra heat and humidity. So that is about it for this episode, and I will continue to update what's going on in here on my YouTube channel. So if you like what you see, please subscribe. It needs all the help it can get. I had over 4,000 people on my cannabis channel, which I closed down, and this one is pretty slow to grow. I've only got about 400, and thank you for everyone that did subscribe, but I wouldn't mind getting more subscribers. And till I see y'all again, take good care of yourselves and keep it green. All right, see you later. Bye bye.